Now, going on to the culture part of the podcast, you have a WNBA player calling out America trash, which I know is a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black. Now, previously, this is the only time the WNBA has hit the headlines. The only time is anyone has ever heard of a specific WNBA player was when a moron bought drugs. So they bought illegal drugs, went to a country where they were illegal. So Brittany Griner went over to Russia with marijuana. Russia found out, threw her in jail, and the U.S. made the worst trade in history debate. Well, I'm pretty sure. The U.S. traded the Lord of War for Brittany Griner. They traded the Lord of War for a mediocre player for a WNBA player. Now, the Lord of War, his actual name was Victor Bount. He was, if you like historically, one of the most successful arms traffickers in history, former member of the Soviet Union. He traveled around the globe delivering arms, and the movie Lord of War with Nicolas Cage was based on him. And the book that was actually about him is called Merchant of Death. And we traded a WNBA player who broke the law for him. While at the same time, we decided to leave a United States Marine in Russia, who's still in Russia prison to this day. So that will probably have to be the most famous trade in the WNBA history. And historically speaking, that brought the number of WNBA players that people know about from 0 to 1. An impressive feat, so she finally did achieve something with her life, some might say. Now, this latest incident it doubles the number of NBA players that people know from 1 to 2. 50% or 150%, that is hugely speaking for the sport. I think that might be, to call it a sport is a little much. But this mediocre player is called Natasha Cloud, which, yeah, I could not believe that was her real name, but it really is. I mean, a cloud? That is the most ridiculous name. I mean, it's almost as ridiculous as calling someone Topping. Oh, damn. I digress. Now, this is coming after the United States Supreme Court that you are not allowed to use race as a factor for college admissions, aka known more commonly as affirmative action. The Supreme Court shot it down. In response, Natasha brilliantly tweeted, which I always tell people, think twice, tweet once, or maybe not at all, depending on what you're doing. She specifically said, quote, "Our country is trash in so many ways, and instead of using our resources to make it better, we continue to oppress marginalized groups that have been targeted since the dawn of time." Unquote. She expanded her, calling it a point is very generous, her dribble. She also said, quote, "Black, brown communities and LGBTQ+, man, we are so powerful to still be attacking separate issues." Which I think she's against the LGBT community and she should be ostracized because she forgot the I and the A. The full acronym, as I read this morning, was LGBTQIA+. She forgot about those marginalized other letters. And yet, the hypocrisy, I don't see anyone boycotting her for that specific reason. So again, marketing and branding is key. You want to keep consistent branding. Not working, that brand is very confusing right now. Now, this will stun all 15 people that watch the WNBA. I know, it's going to be the biggest controversy of the year for them. And thankfully, there's a little semblance of hope. People ratioed her completely on the Twitter. As they should, because she is making hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes getting a little synthetic leather ball in a hoop. Nowhere in the world can you make so much money with a mediocre sport. And when I say mediocre, let me talk about the fiscally mediocre the WNBA is. And by fiscal, I mean the cash flow. Now, the WNBA, the most recent numbers we have, looks like they generated about $60 million per year. $60 million. Guess how much the NBA created in 1 year? $10 billion. Now, keep in mind, the United States, in terms of the breakdown between the sexes, the genders, it's about 50-50 split between men and women. There is no reason for the WNBA not be a $20 billion or $10 billion business. Women aren't watching it. Statistically speaking, if every woman in the United States watched the WNBA and spent money on all the merchandise and they actually tuned in, the more people that tune into a sport, the more advertisers will pay to advertise products on that network and all those channels, because it's usually paid by, kind of like YouTube, how many views does it get, how many eyeballs are on the TV when they're throwing or attempting to dunk, which Comedy Central could buy the WNBA, and then they might be able to double their revenue, I think. I need to write this down. This might be the business idea for the century. Kidding, kind of. But thankfully, the Twitter users who follow her, all three of them, more accurately, the people who responded said, "This is the United States. There is no country on the planet where you can possibly make more money doing what you're doing or be more respected than what you're doing in the United States." It's one of those most annoying things where people keep saying, there's unlimited opportunity in the United States. My family came here with nothing, and they became aerospace engineers, doctors, architects, because they worked like hell. It's the land of opportunity, the beauty of capitalism. CEOs want the people who are going to make the company the most money. Who's going to make a dent in the universe? But I digress. In terms of the cultural phenomenon, it was nice to see a little pushback, as I think more and more people are starting to appreciate the fact that the United States is the land of the free, home of the brave, and there's more opportunity here than anywhere else on the planet. Let's keep it that way. Or, even better, increase those freedoms. Let's decrease the regulations around businesses so businesses can thrive and more people can start new businesses. But that's just, again, my 3 cents. It used to be 2 cents, but inflation is at a 40-year high. I should really be charging 4 cents, but I'm a generous man. 3 cents it is. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers this month, so every time you click that button, it greatly helps us out. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Each one of those things also helps us out a lot as well. I appreciate the critique and the feedback. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.